Hello once again, Niner Faithful, and welcome back to another episode of 49ers Playbook on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game. This past Saturday, the 49ers were able to decimate the Washington Commanders. The game was a lot closer than the score would indicate as San Francisco took charge of the Commanders in the fourth quarter. One thing that has become abundantly clear during this win streak is that the 49ers just outclassed the teams they've been facing. Some have very good players at some positions, guys you have to account for and game plan for. San Francisco has a roster that seems impossible to account for everyone. They force teams to play absolutely mistake-free football for 60 minutes. They leave teams no margin for error, and that's why you're seeing these games that run away down the stretch, when the opponent has to start forcing things. If there's any little slip-up, it'll end badly. Which is something that many of us know all about if you're still using any hair trimmer other than the Lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped. This episode is sponsored by Manscaped, and if you want peace of mind when you're trimming your golden nuggets, then you need to check out manscaped.com and the Lawnmower 4.0 with skin-safe technology that gives you the margin you need to keep from the pain and consternation that can result from mistakes in execution. And make sure to use promo code JD49. You can also check out the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. Or you can get both in either the Performance Package 4.0 or the Platinum Package 4.0 that has everything for your male grooming needs. From the lawnmower that is waterproof, features wireless charging and an ultra-bright LED flashlight, to the Weed Whacker, to premium body wash, and 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, deodorant, legendary boxer briefs with the always comfortable jewel pouch, and a high-quality travel bag. The holiday sale ends this Thursday, but don't worry, you can still use promo code JD49 to get the same deal of 20% off and free shipping on all products store-wide. Again, that's manscaped.com and promo code JD49. You're watching Johnny Dell's Football Academy. One thing that has really stood out from Brock Purdy is his ability to avoid the big negative play. Right at the start of the game, we're going to see this. We're going to run this RPO we run a lot where this is blocked full on like a run play, and we'll look to hit a backside slant. This is something we do when teams like to come out in this 6-man surface, as the backside linebacker has to respect his run fit, and with a cushion, you're going to get Ayuk on a slant. But off the snap, the end man for Washington plays this well and is immediately in Purdy's face. But he never panics, and he knows he's got to get this ball out right away because the line is run blocking here, and if you don't get it out, you'll have an ineligible man downfield. So he changes his arm slot to sidearm the throw to Ayuk. That's something you don't really see from 7th round rookies ever. But real quick, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit the notifications button to be alerted to when a video goes live, especially because we're going to be launching a brand new show, the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast with Adam Marino, starting opening week of the playoffs. So here it is, 3rd down, and we get a big gain on 3rd down to George Kittle. Washington shows a 5-man front, and this time they're aligned in man coverage. And we have a zone beater to the 3 receiver side, and a man in zone beater to the 2 receiver side, as a levels concept. The levels is a basic route, paired with a short in route. Washington is showing a 5-man rush here with the safety as the only help defender, so he knows he'll have the short middle of the field open, so he's going to go to George Kittle. On his drop back, Purdy does a nice job of keeping his helmet down the middle of the field, so the safety can't drive on the route, and Kittle runs a great route. With inside help, the defender is playing with an outside leverage, and Kittle is going to get vertical, lean on the defender's leverage, and use it to separate on his basic route, and Purdy throws a great ball for Kittle to get good yards after the catch. The biggest fail of the game on offense to me was this 4th down play. It's one I'm just not sure of. Kyle said they liked the look at the play and it was there to be made. It's an option play, and you can see we have the corner in a bind. The corner does do a decent job of playing both, but I think Juice gets his eyes off the corner for a second and the pitch is a tad late. However, and here's my issue with Kyle on this, you got a right-handed guy running this play to his left. I'm never really a fan of running this play like this, especially on 4th down. On defense, we were able to contain Washington's stubborn run game and make Heinecke uncomfortable all game, and it started with the defensive line, headlined by Nick Bosa. To me, if people are really watching the film, Nick Bosa solidified his case for Defensive Player of the Year. Here, the Commanders are going to come out with 3 tight ends in a heavy, unbalanced set. They're going to run a no-lead reverse here. We used to call this a belly play, but the blocking will be really similar to a split zone with running back action to one side and a handoff to the other. The idea is to get the defense flowing one way and down block it. For Nick Bosa, they're going to have 2 tight ends help and then look to get to the second level. And number 82's job is to wall off Bosa so they can get up on the linebackers after the misdirection. That's what the help is for, just to allow the guy to get in position just long enough. But at the snap, you can see the violence of Bosa's hand strike on the tight end as he gets under his pads. Then, and this is what makes him so special, he doesn't disengage as he moves down the line. He stays hands engaged with the tight end, taking the guy with him so that he squeezes the play, and then he throws the guy off of him and makes the tackle. If he disengages and goes down the line, the tight end can drive him out of the play. Instead, he takes the guy with him, accordions the edge, then disengages and makes the tackle for a loss of a yard. Talk about absolutely wrecking a play. Then on the next play, a guy you love to see come back is Javon Kinlaw. Here, the Commanders are trying to run an off-tackle run. The running back is supposed to read the block of the tackle, and if he gets the edge, he goes outside. If not, he'll run inside the tackle. They want to get a scoop block on Kinlaw and get the guard up on Hufanga, and will throw in a zone read look to hold the backside pursuit. But watch Kinlaw engage the center and drive him into the hole. That's pure power, and it forces the running back to bounce it outside, which draws a holding call on the tackle as Ebicom wants to disengage. So being backed up on third down, you again see the defensive line causing havoc. Washington is going to have a 3-man scat protection at Bosa's side, and he has such a smooth transition from speed to power. He starts out on a speed rush, gets the tackle moving, and then transitions right into a power move, driving the tackle back. You can see the attention he's drawing as the guard comes over to help, but the pressure got to Heinecke, who has to leave the pocket and nearly throws a pick. If I had one gripe with the defense, it was that we gave up a few too many third downs with some leaky coverage. Here, it's 3rd and 13 and Washington gets a first down. So first, this is a well-designed play against our defense. We like to run a soft Tampa 2 zone on a lot of 3rd and longs. I do like the wrinkle here where they're going to bring Hufanga down as the Mike and drop Jimmy Ward as the deep half safety. So the Commanders are going to run a deep post route on the backside of what they want to do, and then run what will look like a smash concept of a corner route with a flat route. But instead of a corner route, they run a whip route, which will break like a corner route but sit down. It's a good design because the backside post will force Gibson to play with depth, and the smash concept look will force Mooney Ward to widen his drop to play underneath the corner route. Instead, they break off the whip route and it's wide open. You could say Greenlaw should widen into the throwing lane, but with Hufanga having to match the number 3, Greenlaw is the Bronco player that has to squeeze the seam. Overall, that's a well-designed play by Washington to attack our defense. Then we give up another 3rd and long. This one is a 3rd and 10. So having been beat schematically the previous 3rd down, Ryans is going to dial up man coverage and Washington is running mirroring concepts. This is a verticals concept where the outside routes will convert from go routes to curl routes versus a middle of the field close defense. And this is a technique issue with Lenoir. He's got his weight too far back in his back pedal. Look at Mooney Ward. They're taught to keep their weight over the balls of their feet, slightly forward so they can transition from a drop to attack quickly. We'll go real slow here so you can see how small the margins are at this level. Ward is covering McLaurin, who actually enters his break a step later than Dotson, who Lenoir is covering. But look at how Ward is ready to attack the curl route a step faster than Lenoir, because his backpedal technique was better. The ball is in the air, and if Lenore is attacking Dotson right now, this is most likely not a first down conversion. Instead, he gives up the catch with a little room for Dotson to get a few yards after the catch for a first down. But the drive would end after a stellar fourth down stop at the goal line. I mentioned Kinlaw earlier, and here he is again, just eating up a double team without giving up any ground to allow Warner and McGill to penetrate and make a stop for a turnover on downs. Then back on offense, we get a big third down conversion. So Washington does a good job of disguising what they're doing here. They're showing two safeties with a zone look, and we're going to be running a double in plus levels concept. I talked about the levels earlier, and a double in is just what it sounds like, two in routes that create a horizontal stretch of the defense. At the snap, Washington rotates into a cover 1, and they're going to run in-out coverage on Kittle. The linebacker takes him if he runs anything out breaking, and the safety will play a robber or plug roll. And if Kittle breaks in, the safety will pick him up, and the linebacker will play that robber or plug roll. Purdy sees the safety rotation and knows he's got man coverage, sees the linebacker turn inside to Kittle, and is going to look to hit Jennings on his in-breaking route. But look at the ball placement. He's going to put the ball low into the outside where only Jennings can get it, who makes a great catch for a big third down conversion. And why is it such a big third down conversion? Because then we get a huge play on a 71-yard touchdown. So this is a play we've run a number of times this year, and one I showed a number of weeks ago that we were just 1 or 2 blocks away from these going for house calls. On this one, we do a killer job on our blocks. McGlinchey does a heck of a job getting to the second level, and the block of the play goes to Willie Snead. McLeod shows off that speed to take it to the house. But back on defense, the thing that never ceases to impress is the quality of depth along the defensive line. Here, the Commanders are trying to run another off-tackle run, and Dwumfor is going to penetrate right off the snap. This disrupts the timing of the running back and forces him to adjust in the backfield. When you pair this with fast and aggressive guys on defense, it makes life tough. Hufanga and Alshire fire in to make the stop, but it's all set up by the penetration by Dwumfor. But Brock Purdy has his first interception as a starter on just an unlucky bounce. He's got Jennings on a lookie route, and the pass is a tad behind, but this is absolutely a ball Jennings needs to catch. Instead, it gets bumped in the air, an unfortunate ending that sets up Washington in great field position. But sometimes this is how things go in the NFL. Back on defense, it's nearly an identical play. A lookie route over the middle, ball slightly behind the receiver, bobbled up in the air, but the ball bounces their way this time and they get a first down on third down. But like I talked about earlier, and I'm covering a lot of this because several people were wondering what happened on these third and longs that we gave up, here we give up a 3rd and 14. And this is just some poor execution. We're in our cover 4 that we run a lot, so you can see Ryans isn't just being predictable by calling the same thing. So to the 2 receiver side, they're going to run a dig return and then have a chip and release to the flat. We should have this covered as we'll have a 3-on-2. They really want to hit the 3 receiver side with a Mills concept. And the dig return is just to occupy the backside for the post. But as Lenore is dropping back, he passes off the dig and looks to pick up anything from the 3 receiver side, which never really threatens in any way but leaves Gibson in a bad spot, and they get a big conversion on third down. Then Washington gets their first touchdown off a breakdown in coverage. So we're playing cover 2 zone here, which is pretty common this deep in the red zone. Washington is running a spot concept with a spot route, flat route, and a corner route. Heinecke gets too fixated on the spot route that he never drops with the corner route. The spot route is Greenlaw's responsibility and Lenore has the flat, so Washington gets a touchdown to tie the game right before the half. And Huff knew he blew it. But back on offense, we get things going. This play wasn't a huge gain, but I want to show it for later as to why it's so hard for defenses to account for everything in this offense. So here we're just going to run a sail concept, which is a clearing route, out route, and a flat route, and we'll get Kittle against man coverage for a nice gain. But on third down, we're going to get a big score to George Kittle that wasn't even designed for him. So being third down, Kyle is expecting cover 4. This is really good play design if we get the look Kyle wants. We're going to run a double slant return to the 2 receiver side, and with both guys detached against a cover 4, the outside corner would be responsible for matching the outside slant route. So the idea would be to grab the backside corner. Then we're going to run a Mills concept with Kittle and McLeod, which is a dig plus a post route that will put the backside safety in a vertical stretch. And so you're trying to get both safeties to grab Kittle on his dig route and have McLeod on the corner route, who's playing deep quarter coverage. So that's what I really like about this play, but Washington isn't even in this defense. Post snap, they wrote into an invert 2, with both corners playing deep half and the safety dropping into a middle zone. Purdy looks to the double slant, which holds the backside corner. Then Kittle was supposed to run a dig, but said he just saw an open space with no middle safety, so he just went for it, and both guys were wide open, and McLeod misses out on a touchdown that was intended for him. Back on defense, we tighten up a little on third down. Here it's 3rd and 6, and while Bosa wasn't credited for this, I think he actually gets a little bit of a hand on this ball to knock it off target. At bare minimum, he absolutely affected the throw. Back on offense, we have one of the best throwaways you'll ever see. I'm still trying to figure out how Brock Purdy saw this guy coming. He's looking to the slot side. The guy isn't tipping anything. He then looks away, and that's when the guy comes down and off the edge, and he never looks that way, but knows he's coming and avoids the sack. I don't know what kind of voodoo magic this is, but I like it. Outside the big run to McLeod, the run game really didn't have a ton of explosives. It was just a lot of steady runs, but the impact of the run game loomed large. Here we're going to see it lead to another big touchdown. This is just our slide concept where we fake an outside zone and then run a 3-level play away from it. The defense completely bites on the run fake, and Kittle is wide open. But then look at how Kittle runs affects the defense. These two guys are corners. They want no part of really trying to get Kittle in the open field, and he shows off his speed for the touchdown. So remember that sail route with Kittle that I mentioned earlier. Here we're going to run the same thing, but this time with Ayuk. This is what makes it so hard for defenses to try and pinpoint what the 49ers are going to do, because they can run almost any of their plays from any personnel package. Then later in the game, Nick Bosa gets his second sack, causing a big turnover. So earlier I showed his ability to go from a speed rush to a power. Here he starts similarly, but watch the speed to power to keep the tackle from engaging and continue on with the speed to force the fumble. And this is incredible because Washington was keeping both tight ends in to block, plus the running back on a check release, and we still got home. Then the next drive, the avalanche continues as we get an interception. So Washington is trying to run a divide concept, which is a fade paired with a post route, and we're in cover 2 zone. So remember that first third down conversion that Washington made? I talked about how Greenlaw needed to squeeze the seam as the Bronco player. Here's why. Heinecke wants to go to the post route as Fred Warner is going to shade to the 3 receiver side, but he can't because Greenlaw squeezes the seam and takes it away. And it's an absolute travesty that Greenlaw didn't make the Pro Bowl. This forces Heinecke to try and check it down, but the pressure from Armstead forces a bad throw and Jimmy Ward is there to pick it off. From the end zone, again, you're going to see the impact Bosa has. Washington is again in scat protection with 3 to Bosa's side. The guard is so worried about helping the right tackle that he leaves the center one-on-one with Armstead, who wins with a nasty swim move and forces the bad throw. Armstead and Ward get the flowers, but the play is set up by Greenlaw and Bosa. Then, after Washington does manage to get a touchdown with Wentz in at quarterback, Kyle puts a bayonet in the heart of the Commanders on 4th down. So it's 4th down, and Washington does a real good job of being patient on executing a cover 0 blitz. This is a really nice job by Purdy. He's going to see the blitz right at the snap and fire off a pass to Kittle on a basic route. This is eerily similar to a play Jimmy G made versus the Rams in 2021 that went for a score to Kittle against a 0 blitz with the same play to Kittle. Then McCaffrey is going to run over Jennings to get into the end zone. Well, it was a fantastic win over a feisty Commanders team fighting for their playoff lives, and you're seeing how the team is so strong, so deep that they force teams to be perfect all game long. In the end, the best news was that the team came out of the game with no injuries. They should get a win this week against a struggling Raiders team, but you always got to be careful because the Raiders technically aren't eliminated from playoff contention. Peter Schrager said on Good Morning Football that the Raiders still have a 1.3% chance of making the playoffs, and teams will fight tooth and nail if they believe they still have a chance, no matter how slim. In the end, I think San Francisco will effectively end their season this week and improve to 12 wins on the year. As always, if you'd like to support the channel in any way, I'll have links for that below. But again, stay tuned as opening week of the playoffs will be launching a new podcast show, so make sure you have the notifications button on to be alerted to when a video goes live. But as we head down the final 2 games of the year, as always, the key will be the health of the team. So as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Niners.